Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in a previous session we started with the abstraction. We saw how we use abstract class for achieving abstraction. Now we know that what is abstraction and what is the purpose of abstraction, correct? Yes. So now we know how to declare an abstract class. We had declared an animal class as an abstract, how to use it, correct? Alright. So now with abstract class, what was the functionality that we got for achieving abstraction was we can achieve 0% to 100% abstraction. The reason for this is we can have a normal concrete methods inside our abstract class, and we can even have abstract methods as well. So if a class have only abstract classes, only abstract methods, then it will give us 100% abstraction. But if somehow it have some other concrete classes or concrete methods as well, which means we are having some non abstraction as well, which means 0 to 100% abstraction. It's up to us whether our abstract class have all the abstract method or all the concrete method or a hybrid of them, correct? So that's the reason why we say that using the abstract class we achieve 0 to 100% of abstraction. Now we know that abstract classes cannot be instantiated, correct? Because their objects cannot be created. The reason, is there any specific reason to this? The reason is our main agenda of declaring a class abstract is for achieving abstraction. And what do we mean by abstraction? How do we achieve abstraction? By just having some abstract method that doesn't have any bodies. And why do we create objects? Objects are created for getting the feature of our class to that particular object, inside that particular object. But if I am able to create an object of abstract class, even the object will have only the empty method. So there is no sense of creating any objects of these classes. So it has been said that you cannot instantiate or you cannot create any object for these abstract classes. So we have covered all this. We have covered like we can have variables, normal variables inside the abstract classes, correct? Alright. So now, yes, and one more thing that we have discovered is if some class is extending a abstract class, what is the contract? Class A extends abstract class, let's say. So what will be the contract? A must implement all the unimplemented or all the abstract method that are present inside the abstract class, which means I need to override all the abstract method and I need to give some method body to that particular method if I want to extend it in my normal class, the way that we did. So in a previous example, our animal class was a abstract class, correct? It has a method run and it also has a normal method, that is a concrete method, a static method, correct? And it was a normal method. So yes, and this was a abstract method. So abstract method, as we have discussed, they don't have any bodies. So as I said, the contract is if horse tries to extend the animal class, what is the contract? It must override and give some body, give the method body to the abstract method, and inside our animal class, who is our abstract method? The run. That's the reason why we are overriding it over here and we are providing some method body to it over here. So that's the reason why we need to implement it, because if we don't implement it, then there is no sense of extending the animal class. Alright. So now one thing that was remaining is we can include or we can have constructors for abstract class. We'll see at the end that how we can have the constructor within our abstract classes. But for now, let's get started with interfaces. Okay. So first we'll discuss what is the interface, what is the need of interface, how we can declare an interface. And if you have any doubts, you can just post your doubt in the chat box. Alright. So abstract class or let's start with abstraction again. Yes, so this was our base. We need to achieve abstraction. The first way I said that was abstract class. So what is abstract class? It gives us the ability to 0 to 100% of abstraction. Correct. Now the another alternative for achieving abstraction is interfaces. So what is an interface? For now I am saying that we can have interface provides us 100% abstraction. So yes, now this is the one difference between them, and we'll see at the end of the session, we'll see what is the actual difference and how the things differentiate between abstract classes and interfaces. So now our main focus is interfaces. So abstract class are class. Now what are interfaces? So interfaces are also similar to class, or I can say that they are more similar to abstract classes as well. Alright, but now as I say that it have 100%, it provides 100% abstraction, which means all the method that I will be declaring will be abstract method by default. Okay, so all the methods that I declare are abstract in interfaces. Though after the Java 8, like since Java 8 version, we can have default and static methods as well, and from Java 9 as well we can have private methods as well. So do not worry about that, because as I said that we'll be seeing the feature that are included in Java 8 and later version in a separate video. I'll create a separate video based on this. So do not worry about the enhancement. For now we'll just go with the basics. So previously how it was, all the methods were only abstract. Okay, so if everything is abstract inside the interface, which means there is no chance of partial abstraction, it will always provide us 100% abstraction. Correct? Yes. So first let's see what do I mean by this. Let me declare an interface. So let me declare an interface. And okay, so let me say the interface is mammal. Yes, so interface mammal, the name of our interface is mammal. As I said, they are similar to class, but do not forget that over here we don't have the class keyword, we are using the interface keyword. So this is how you declare an interface. Now as I said, let me check whether it is abstract by default or not. See, it is abstract, correct? Or can you see over here what happens in the abstract class? If I don't write the abstract keyword over here, what happens? We get an error, because if I have not written an abstract keyword, which means it's a normal method, and normal methods always have method bodies. That's the reason why we get an error over here. While after adding the abstract keyword over here, the error is gone, because yes, abstract method don't have any bodies. So I hope it is clear for you about the abstract class. But now over here I don't have any body over here, correct? But then too we don't get any error. The reason for this is in interfaces all the methods are public and abstract by default. So just keep this thing in mind. Public and abstract are by default. Even if you don't have something like this, then too it will be public. Alright, it won't be default. Okay, so the purpose for this public is because interfaces are meant to achieve abstraction, and you know that someone will be implementing this particular interface. So why not make it public and let the class give the implementation as per their use. So they have been said that like declared as public by default and abstract. All the methods are abstract. That's the reason why we do not get any error over here. Alright. Yes, so it's up to you whether you add the abstract keyword or not, but it will work fine. Okay, so for now I am just removing this keyword over here, and I hope you all are getting the concept so far. Okay, let me create another method as well. Eat. Yes. All right, so I have two abstract methods over here. Let me declare another class that will be implementing this particular. So class name is human, and let's say this human needs to extend that particular interface. So what happens previously, a class, if a class wants to inherit a property of a class, what we can do is we can achieve inheritance using which keyword? Extends. So for abstract class, what we did for extending this, we use the extends keyword only, because abstract class is also a class, correct? So yes, extend keywords work over here. But if you want to implement or if you want to extend an interface, what you need to do is you need to use the implement keyword. Just keep this thing in mind. Okay, implements. Okay, so extend won't work on the interface. If you want to extend an interface, you cannot, or if you want to inherit an interface, you cannot use the extend keyword. So you have to use the implement keyword. All right, so over here I'll say implements. Yes, and what is the name? Mammal, correct? Yes. Now do we get any error? Let's see what the error says. So the error says that the type human must implement the inherited abstract methods, correct? So as I said, a mammal has abstract methods, eat, correct, and run. So again the contract comes over here. If some other class wants to inherit its property, the class must give implementation, correct, must give implementation to the non-implemented, or I can say, to be precise, to the abstract class, sorry, abstract methods, correct? So I need to give the implementation to them, or I can say that I need to override them. So yes, now the error is gone, because we had given some method body, we had given this body, let it be empty body, but then too we had implemented, we had overwritten this particular methods that are declared inside the mammal. All right, and do not worry about the annotations, we'll discuss about annotations later. All right, so over here this is an annotation, so don't get confused what is this override. Okay, and if you don't write it, then too it will work fine. All right, so now what I can do is over here I can say that system.out.println running inside human class, and over here what I can say that system.out.println eating inside the human class. Yes, now if I declare a main method over here, see, it is kind of similar to the abstract classes, correct? Yes, so let me create an object, and if I say h dot run and h dot eat, what will be the output? We'll get the output as running inside the human class and running inside the, sorry, eating inside the human class. So this is what we expected, correct? Yes, so this works similar to the abstract classes, am I right? Yes, so now can I instantiate interfaces? This is a question. Can I create an object of interface? So now you are going to answer this question. Just remind of the concept. Interfaces 100% abstraction, means all abstract method. Does it make any sense of creating 10 objects which will be having the properties of their interface, but the interface, as we discussed, don't have method body, they will have method signature? There is no sense, correct? to have such objects like this without any implementation or without any method bodies? Yes. So that's the reason why again we cannot instantiate or we cannot create an object of interfaces as well. So just keep this thing in mind. Abstract class and interfaces cannot be instantiated or their object cannot be created. Alright, so just keep this point in mind, or sometimes the interviewer might ask you about this question. Alright, so now let's see the difference as well. So now previously in abstract class we had a concrete method, right, like this. Can I declare a concrete method like this over there? Okay, let me remove the static over there. Does it work? Definitely yes, because it is a concrete method, the normal method, correct? So inside the mammal, can I have this? Can you see what we get? An error. Let's see what the error says, that abstract method do not specify a body. So the reason over here is we cannot have a instance method over here, correct? Because as I said, if you write a method like this, void xyz, this is abstract and public by default. So if you have method like this, then too it is abstract in interface, only in interface. Okay, this concept works only in interface. By default it is abstract. So over here by default the normal is abstract, and now you are going to tell me whether abstract method have method bodies. No, they don't, correct? So they won't have method bodies. Okay, so that's the reason why we get an error that hey, this is an abstract method and they do not have any body, they do not possess any body. So that's the reason why we get an error over here, that we cannot like the abstract method does not have any body, cannot have any body. Alright, so this is one difference, that we can have a normal instance or normal concrete method in abstract classes, while in interface we cannot have that. Alright, so this is again a difference between interface and abstract class. Okay, so let's proceed further. Yes, so what if I make static? Will it work? It works. So do not worry about this. Or I can say that this concept, like if you have a static method like this, yes, so this static method came into action since Java 8. Okay, so we'll discuss about the features of Java 8 later after we complete all the concepts. So do not worry about this stuff, but yes, the normal method like instance we cannot have it over here. Okay, yes. Can I define any other access modifier over here? Protected. Will it work? See, can you see the error? Illegal modifier for the interface method run. Only public, private, abstract, default, static and strict FP are permitted. Alright, so do not worry about strict FP, we'll discuss that later. But now the modifier over here we cannot have protected, because as I said that it will be always by default public. So all the methods, all the abstract methods are supposed to be public in interface. Or now see, the private also over here says that the method requires a body. So we'll see this feature that it was introduced in Java 9. So do not worry about this. We'll discuss about all the later features that were included. Alright, so this works similar way like the abstract classes work. But now another advantage of using interface. See, the interface first advantage was 100% abstraction, correct? Alright, now I can perform, as I said that previously, multiple inheritance. Multiple, okay, do not get confused with multi-level. Okay, it was multi-level is possible in Java, but multiple, as I said, it was not possible, or it is not possible in Java, but yes, we can achieve it using interfaces. So now we'll see how we can achieve that using interfaces. So previously, as I said, that let's say C1 is a class and C2 is a class, C3 is a class. So I cannot extend two classes like this, correct? We get an error because of the diamond problem that we had already discussed in the inheritance lecture. Alright, but while if you have interfaces, let's say class 1 want to implement two interfaces, I1 and I2, it is possible, and this is how we can say that we can achieve multiple inheritance using interfaces, because I can have n number of interfaces, I can implement n number of interfaces like this. Now your question will be how, or your question will be why we can implement multiple interfaces. Don't we get the diamond problem again? We'll discuss that, do not worry, but let me create another interface. So let me create another interface, and okay, let me name it, or for now I'll just name it as testing. Okay, yes, so this is our interface testing. Let me create a method over here, and let me name the method as check, and as we know, no method bodies. So I can implement two interfaces as well. What is the name? Testing, correct? Yes. Now we will get an error because we need to implement the unimplemented or the abstract method, we can say, that is check. So let me implement it, and let me provide. All right, so let me place it over here. Yes, and let me provide a sysout statement over here, checking inside human class. Now if I say h.check, it works because we have implemented it, and now see, we do not get any errors. I hope you are understanding this. Now previously when we were doing this, emit cannot extend two classes like this, correct? See, we get an error because it is not a syntax provided, because we cannot extend more than one class. All right, so this was the issue with classes, but I can implement multiple interfaces. Over here I am having two interfaces, first one is mammal, another one is testing, but I can have n number of interfaces, I1, I2, it's up to us how many interfaces we implement. And addition to this, we can also extend a class. Okay, we can also add the extends keyword with this. So let me say that class 1 want to extends class 2 and also want to implements I1, I2 and I3. So this is a valid syntax. Okay, because as I said, you cannot extend more than one class, and we are not trying to do it, but we can implement multiple interfaces, and we can do both of these things together as well. So let me give it a try. So if I say extends car, will it work? It works. We don't get any error, correct? So do we get any other functionality of car? Has engine. Okay, it's a variable, let me print it. System.out.println has engine. See, it says true, so it gets the feature of car as well. It is implementing two interfaces as well. So I hope that it is clear to you all till now. So do you have any doubts till now? You can ask me in the comment section. Okay, and you must practice all these concepts. So now your question, let's move back to our question, was the diamond problem. Do we get in interfaces? Now my question, I'll ask you the similar question. Previously when I had two classes, okay, can I have abstract method over classes inside the class? No. So which means I need to provide method body. So let's say I have a method check over here. Okay, let me name it as C2 and C3, and check over here as well. So if C1 tries to extend this or both of this, it will get confused because whose check I need to inherit, correct? But now what happens in the interface? If C1 wants to implement I1 and I2, it works, correct? We don't get any error. The reason, let's say check over here and check over here. But now can you see they are abstract method, they don't have any bodies, correct? So there won't be any problem because C1 will eventually end up overriding the check method. And if I had overridden a check method like this, which means I have satisfied both of the condition, because this interfaces doesn't provide any method bodies to them, correct? So it won't affect any problem because the implementation is given by C1 itself. All right, but this thing is not possible with abstract classes, because as we know, abstract classes are classes at the end, correct? So classes cannot be extended more than one classes cannot be extended by a particular class. So interface, they don't have any body, so we'll give it up to C1 that hey, it's up to you what method body you provide. We have check, you also have check, but you are the one who will be implementing check and providing the method body. That doesn't harm our syntax as well. So this is how multiple inheritance is achieved, and also the diamond problem is, or I can say that also the diamond problem doesn't occur. So let's say inside the mammal, if I have public void check the same way, see inside the testing as well we have the check method, correct? Or let me add public over here, you might get confused, yeah, but then too we do not get any error because now I am implementing a check method, correct? From the human class I am implementing the check method, yes. So now see, it works fine. All right, okay, so do you have any doubts? Yes, so if you have any doubts you can just reach out to me in the chat box. All right, so now the other thing is, can we have variable in interfaces? Let me declare a variable int a is equals to 67. Can you see this a, then it is colored, or I can say that it is bold, or let me say int age, yes. And while in abstract class animal, is it bold? No, it is colored because of the ID, but yes, it is bold over here. The reason, have you noticed which variables are bold by the ID, like are done bold by the ID? So you remember constant, static constant, a variable which is declared final and static, like static final int a is a constant, correct? All right, so this a were used to get displayed as bold because of the constant stuff. So over here, yes, so which says that in interface each and every variable that you declare are by default static and final. All right, so this is again a difference between abstract class and interface. In our abstract class it was a normal variable, while in interface it is a static and final, that is it is a constant variable, which means previously the variable in our abstract class could have changed, but over here it is a constant, which means I cannot change the age over here. So just keep this thing in mind, that in interface we have variables. If we try to declare any variables, they are by default constant. Okay, so behind the scene there is public, static and final access specifier or final specifiers over here. Okay, you don't see it, but yes, it is by default. All right, so do not get confused with this thing as well. This is again a difference. So see, we have seen a lot of difference between abstract classes and interfaces. Now the last difference is constructor. I can have constructor in abstract class. Yes, I can have. Can I have it in interface? No, I cannot. This is again a difference. Now your question should be why I cannot have, or why can I have it over here? First question arises is, the constructor are called when we create an object. Am I right? Yes. Okay, so let's say my interface over here, mammal, m is equals to mammal, like this. So this is the constructor. Or for our abstract class animal, let's say animal a is equals to new, sorry, over here I haven't, yes, new animal. So this is how we create object, but these are not possible, not even for abstract class and not even for mammals. And you know that constructor are called at this runtime at the object creation, but object for abstract classes and interfaces cannot be created. So now why there is a need of constructor in abstract class, or why I can have constructor in abstract classes? So the reason for this is there is a super keyword. We'll see super keyword, or for now I'll just give you a quick recap about this. What is quick overview about this? What is super keyword? So you know this keyword, this is used to point a variable or method for that particular object. This with parenthesis is used to invoke a constructor within our current class or of our current object. Now the same way, super dot variable name dot method name will invoke a variable or method from our parent class. That's it. They are similar, just super is used for parent stuff and this is used for their own stuff. So super with parenthesis will invoke a constructor of our parent class or parent interface. Correct, but interfaces, as I said, they do not have constructors. So definitely it will invoke the constructor of our parent. So let me declare a constructor in interface, and first let me declare constructor over here in the abstract class. I know this would have been confusing. That's the reason why I have not discussed this in our previous session. So what is the use of constructor? What is the use of constructor? Use is, it is used to initialize object state. Correct? Which means the variable that we have, I want to initialize them, so I use a constructor. Correct? So let me do it like this. So I can say this dot a equals to a. This is the main reason why we use constructor. There is no other reason other than this. Yes, you can use it other ways as well, but the main purpose, the best practice for using a constructor is for initializing its state. So over here, this is a normal variable. I can initialize it using the constructor. Correct? But in mammal, that is our interface, it is constant. Can I do it like this? Can I leave it empty? We'll get an error because constant need to be initialized at the time of declaration. Alright, and once declared, there is no way of changing this particular variable. So over here, that doesn't make any sense if I create any constructor, because the main agenda, the main importance of constructor is for initializing our object state. Correct? Like this. So over here we say get an error, interface cannot have constructor. Now main agenda of constructor, initialize object states or variables, we can say. This variable cannot be initialized again, and at the time of declaration it must be initialized. So there is no way of initializing or reinitializing it through the constructor. And other than that, we do not see any of the use of constructor inside the interface. Correct. If I have 10 variables, all of them will be static and final by default, which means there is no use of constructor in interfaces. That's the reason why I cannot have a constructor in interfaces, but I can have them in abstract class, because this variable a is not static or final, which means I can initialize it from anywhere, and why not initialize it with constructor. Now the question arises, how can I call this constructor, because I cannot create an object like this. Correct. I cannot create an object like this. So how am I supposed to call this? So as we discussed about the super keyword, I will go inside the constructor, or I will move to a method or at a place in my child class that is extending this animal. So let's say in our case, horse is extending animal. So inside this, let's say I'm having many methods over here, or any constructor. I can invoke a super constructor, and this super will go to the parent. It will, parenthesis will define the constructor. So it will say, hey, there is a constructor in super class, that is the animal class, which have a constructor that takes a parameter of type int. Is there any constructor like this? Yes, we do have. So it will move down over here, it will place 6 over here, and it will initialize this a to 6. So I believe that you have got a better understanding about this stuff. Let's move down to our horse. Alright, so why do we get here? Add constructor. Yes. Alright, so now let's say, yes, so over here, yeah, means over here horse has got the state as a, because yes, animal has a variable a, which means horse will be definitely inheriting that property. Or let me just move down over here, let me name it as age, so it will be more relatable. So it is more relatable over here. Yes. Yeah. So now the horse variable or horse class have got a feature or have got a variable age. We haven't declared it over here, but it is inside the parent class. So now whenever I need to create a object of horse, I should want, or like I might want to initialize this age for a particular object. How can I do that? You will say, yes, constructor are meant to do this. We have created this like this, correct? So now I'll say age is 20 or age is 15. Let's say 15 is a int, correct? So it will move down to the constructor, this constructor over here using interfaces, correct? Yes. Now over here all the variables are static and final by default. Over here there is no such constraint. Over here all methods are public and abstract, but over here again there is no such constraint. We can have constructor over here, but we cannot have constructor over here. And the similarity is both of them are used for abstraction, and the other similarity is another similarity is like, see, they both cannot be instantiated, or I can say that their object cannot be created. So I believe it gives you a better understanding that how this thing works. All right, so do you have any doubts? You can just post your doubts in the comment section. All right, okay, so again let me recap this if the video has buffered. All right, so we have used the super keyword to move down or to move back to our superclass of the horse class. Inside this constructor we have used the super keyword. It will move down to the parent class and it will initialize the age variable. And now at the end what we recapped was the difference between abstract class and interface. Yes, I'm just recapping this. All right, so partial abstraction we get over here, and over here we get complete abstraction. You know the reason of all this, correct? 100% abstraction we can say over 0 to 100%. No constraints / default properties for variables and methods, correct? But in interface we have static plus final variable and methods as abstract and public by default, correct? Can be used for multiple inheritance, but it cannot be used for can have constructor, but it cannot have constructor. All right, yes, so these are few dissimilarities, and we have also discussed if there is anything remaining about this. And this is again a very important interview question, that what is the difference between abstract class and interface. All right, yes, so over here we can have normal concrete method, or I can say the instance method, and over here I cannot have that. Am I right? Yes, so I believe it will suffice the concept for the abstraction, and we have discussed almost every aspect. Now the last thing that is remaining is, can a interface extend or implement other interface? Yes, but you just keep one thing in mind, you need to use extend keyword. So I'll just give you a short trick. Similar stuff will extend each other. Similar extend, and similar dissimilar, or I can say non-similar, implements. Just keep these two things in mind. Now let's implement this. Okay, similar, which means a class and a class will always extend, you know this. A class and a abstract class, again it is also a class, which means it will again extend. A abstract class and a abstract class, again both of them are similar, extend. An interface and an interface, implements or extend? No, they are similar, they will extend. Class and interface, they will implement. Abstract class or interface, they will again implement, because they are dissimilar. So these 2 points will give you a understanding that when to use extend and when to use implement. And now you know the concept of inheritance. Now again the question is, can a interface implement a class or extend a class? The question, or I will say the answer you will be giving to this. What is interface? Interface will have methods without anything. And what are class? It will have method with bodies. So if a interface is able to extend a class, it will get the method with bodies. And is it a legal thing, or is it a valid thing? No, which means a interface cannot extend or cannot inherit a class. So just keep this thing in mind. All right, yes, other rest all the concepts are same. Okay, so let me extend, let mammal extends testing, and it works. All right, so now over here if I don't even have testing, then too it will work fine, because mammal got the feature of check. So do not worry about this, because it is just like you can relate all this concept all together. So I believe we have completed the OOPS concept till now. We have started with inheritance, we went all the way to polymorphism. We then learned encapsulation, and at the end we saw abstraction, and in abstraction we saw abstract classes and interfaces. So these are the core concept of OOPS, and these are a very important concept in any programming language, and also it is a very important concept for interview purpose. Okay, so even in the interviews we need to be we need to have a solid understanding of all the four concepts that are mentioned over here, and we have discussed each and every concept. And if you feel any difficulties understanding any concept, you can just reach out to me directly, all right, or you can post your doubt in the comment section. All right, so for now I'll just end the stream. In our next session we'll see exception handling. All right, so exception handling will be our next topic that we are going to cover in our next session. Okay, that is tomorrow. So till then, you practice each and every concept of OOPS, try to implement it in your own way, do not try to copy others' code, and if you face any difficulties, you know I'm there to help you out. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. See you all tomorrow at the same time.